Hey people of God, the reason why I'm doing this video is to tell people some of the things I've been through and how I really feel about the whole situation or whatever. Ever since I was in my youth, I've been going through the same situation. Um, but it's more to this than this. Like for me, what I'm going through right now is an illumination. It's like being separated, like having two separate bodies, one that's just laying there or sitting there, and the other one which is conscious, moving, roaming, constantly trying to grow, constantly doing what it does. That's me right now, who you see talking. That's my, I would say, conscious, but some would say subconscious. Who knows? Because they say the conscious body is the one that's laying dormant, and they say the subconscious body is the one that's constantly roaming and trying to grow and trying to do what it does. I don't know. I can tell you what I go through every time that I get sick. I'm going through like someone's shoving something down my throat constantly. I go through that. I go through headaches because it feels like someone's beating me in my head. I go through stomach pains, feel like someone's just like squeezing on my intestines and like squeezing my intestines and stuff like that. So I go through stomach pains. I go through feeling like trash is being thrown into my eyes constantly. And at this point, I would actually call it kidnapping. And I feel like I've been kidnapped since the first day I was born into this world. That's the God heaven truth. I don't trust people at all. I believe that people are very manipulative, maniacal, demonic. I don't trust people. I feel this is done to get access because I don't let any and everybody into my house. Even as I was raising my children, the only person that was allowed in my house was the dude that I was dating. And I regretted even dating dudes. That's just how bad it is. It's not that dudes were bad. It's just the fact that the access, not allowing people to have access to me, my family, my children, the things that I love, because that access sometimes causes problems. That access can rape your daughter off, your son off, you off, put you in a comatose state, like what I feel that I'm dealing with and have been dealing with since my youth. This is something that I don't allow. You get what I'm saying? And especially as I get more mature, limiting access for people. Limiting access. But remind you, you got people wanting to play games mentally, physically, and emotionally. And they want to be luminaries, which wants you ill mentally. So they play these dark psychology games. They play with your eyes. So you go through vision compromise, but you're not going anywhere. And they know this. When I say I had to wake up to the fact that mental health facilities are a joke, and I'm not saying all of them, because some of them are headed by people of God that really believe in God and really believe in humanity. Because this war, how can I put it? It's a war going on, and this war deals with a war for humanity and a war for enslavement. Some people are pro-enslavement. Some people are pro-humanity. What this means is I'm pro-humanity. I'm not for our people being enslaved in any kind of way, manner, shape, or whatever the case may be. But I do know in certain situations we must enslave the people because they are so out of it that if you don't lock them down, they will kill you and everybody else. And that's something that I had to somewhat deal with, witness, and know in my life. So I understand the necessity for certain stuff, but knowing what I know is it's a war between humanity and it's a war between enslavement. They want to dominate, they want to rule over you, but they don't have anything good to give to you. And the whole focus is to lure you away from God because God is the key. The holy books is the key. When you talk about the Book of Mormon, when you talk about the Quran, when you talk about all this stuff, those are keys left by people way before us to guide us. The Apocrypha, all of these books are meant to guide us out of circumstances well beyond what we know, but they will never preach it in a manner that you'll understand because the whole purpose is to dumbfound you. In these times, we go into church and we end up dumbfounded. You know why you end up dumbfounded? Because you're not even moving, and the people that's over you don't want you to have access to what you need to have access to. So church is another way that they enslave you. Young girls lose their faith in church because you dealing with raven wolves within the church that lust after those young girls. They want them in the streets because the more you're in the streets, the more that they can sleep with you in your subconscious. So what's happening, you're not moving. You're not going anywhere. But there's a man that has a lust issue that they ain't gonna never address, they ain't gonna never deal with, that's gonna rape you off and give you STDs and all kinds of stuff while you're laying there dormant. And instead of them being straight forthcoming with you and just saying, hey man, you in a situation where we can't really do anything as far as law enforcement, we can't do anything as far as certain stuff, they're not gonna tell you that. This is where the stories come in from girls that was raped as kids. They mama sat up there and pressed charges, and then they ended up enslaved under these rapists. This is that situation, that kidnapping situation where you're held, how would they say, astroplaned, that it, like the movie It. And this the game they play to keep you kidnapped, to keep you raped off, to keep you with doubt, to keep you from progressing, to keep you shackled, enslaved, and mentally unaware. Because they have stuff attached to your brain. They're constantly monitoring your brain waves, your thought process, and everything. This is the what is it? Brain interface computer. See, what heals us and what advances our culture, our race for decades and decades, they have used as weapon. They weaponize what advances us against our people. When we talk about ways to see and stuff like that, that computer brain interface system will be connected with the way that the blind will be able to see. The deaf will be able to hear. All of this is connected together. They're using it and weaponizing it and calling it astral plane and keeping you in the subconscious, keeping you in a comatose state. So, you know how people say we can induce a coma? They constantly keep you in an induced coma state where you're not active, but they keep you in a dream state where they tap into your subconscious, putting you in a dream state so that they can keep you kidnapped. This is the truth about half of this stuff that they talking about. Some of us, they look at us. You ever seen the movie The Walking Zombies and The Walking Dead? That's us. That's us, because the body is disconnected from the mind. So they can actually weaponize this and actually have people fight and not even be aware that they fighting, and they fighting in their sleep. They can have people raped off in their sleep, unaware, brain cut off, blackout box. All this stuff is taking place in our generation right now. So every time I get sick, I can't tell you the amount of stuff that has happened to me where I feel like someone's pouring their jack off, they ejaculated or whatever, and poured that down my throat. I can't tell you about women with discharge, and they'll sit up there, they'll insert it in you. You don't have an STD, but it's inserted in you, and you have to go to the doctor, get tested, and deal with a situation that you shouldn't have to deal with. Put that mess in your mouth because these women ain't got no restrictions or discipline. They stink. Honestly, their men and their women stink. They refuse to bathe because of the rape situations going on in the atmosphere. Some of them will not bathe. Some of them try to prevent you from bathing. Even in like subconscious situations, simulated type situation, they're gonna try to prevent you from bathing and stuff like that. This is where I was educated, because you will be in a large room and everything. So something educated me on making sure that I went to the water well and filled up water jugs. Something else throwed up in my face: if water didn't work for the sink, what make you think we gonna let you have water for the water well, or whatever the case may be? This is the reality of one that ones deal with daily. This is my reality. This is not something that I'm playing with. This is something that I'm actually dealing with. And I know I'm not psychotic. I know I'm not crazy. I know I'm not insane. Because this is hitting more than just my door front. And it's being talked about constantly. Hold on, I got to blow my nose. I'm going to pause the video. So a lot of people are going through this situation because of the fact that they worked the job. This is the new war that has to go on, and we have to educate our kids on what's really going on. So let me go ahead and educate you. For years and years, these people have been advancing over us. Our children, no matter the color, the culture, or whatever the case may be, because a lot of y'all say, oh, it's the white man, it's the black man, it's the purple man, it's the blue man, it's the China man, it's the Cuban man, it's the Dominicans, it's the Haitians, it's whatever. Let me be real with you. This is a war for humanity, a war to keep humanity unshackled, unchained. The war is right now hitting medical professions. Why is it hitting medical professions? Young people, stop letting these people tell you college is not for you, because we are in war, even in simulation situations, to ensure the progression of humanity. Seriously. So when you're trying to get on to these hospitals and they're not hiring you, they don't want to hire you because you're walking into a war zone. And you have to be dumbfounded. And they don't want anybody that's knowledgeable to enter in, because you're automatically under attack. So when you go into these medical professions, this is hospital, the mental health places, the behavior techs, this is the nurses, this is the doctors, this is et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, when it comes to therapy of humans. When you're going into these fields, know what you're dealing with, because they want that authority so that they can kill off humanity. So we have to teach our kids to educate themselves and to take over and take control. Because if we don't begin this process of telling them, no, you cannot just chill. No, you cannot hang out. No, you cannot be social. We cannot continue to allow them the opportunity to just function as they function, as though there are no threats. And there are many that are facing our children on a day-to-day basis. This is part of the reason why they started attacking the school system. You have more of theirs who wants to enslave our children at the beginning, in their youth, at those schools. So our kids are being astroplaned in school situations at a certain time and removed out of the astral plane at another time. I can give you personal testimony on this because I had to actually have that happen to me. And through miraculous ways, I could hear them threatening children. I'm going to do such and such to you when you get home at night. And I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and everything. And actually witness at a certain time when they block off the pickup time, this type of thing is happening. And these kids are being astroplaned and separated from their consciousness. But on top of that, we're dealing with vision compromise. So if you're dealing with vision compromise, this deal with the luminary. See, everything can be justified, but it deals with the illuminary. This is part of the reason why they're giving you false witchcraft and false ideologies so that they can cover up, because they're never going to tell you the truth. The truth, we got to dig for. We're going to have to be dogs and dig for it. Because I always considered the dog unrighteous, but then I had to learn there are two sides of this chessboard. And they call soldiers dogs too. But we're going to need some righteous dogs to start digging for the truth. Honestly. Because there's a lot of stuff going on that you're going to have to dig it out. It is not at the surface. This thing hits in dimensions. When I say dimensions, I mean dimensions. Even when I looked at my life hit in dimensions, because we go back and forth so much. This is dimensional. Like you can't fight it on one dimension. You got to fight it on every dimension. And all these dimensions connect to the word of God on how to appropriately address, because the weapons of God is not carnal. It's more mental. It's for your mental. It's for your progression. In certain situations when you cannot fight, what does it profit you to even be angry? You can't fight. You can't do anything. All you can do is think about how to address the situation. And they know they're sitting up there. They got stuff connected to you where they can actually tell you what you're thinking, because it's speaking it. And certain stuff is taking place where they have the computer brain interface system, actually, where it can tell them exactly what you're thinking, what you're doing. And this is something that was actually originally started on corpses, where the research actually started with them actually wanting to know if the dead still had a form of consciousness. And we connected a computer brain interface to the dead and experimented on the dead, and the dead did have a conscious a conscious part of it. It was just sleep. So that's where this research actually stemmed from. And yes, they do know certain thought process or whatever. So they study your methods, study your thought process, study how to dumb you down. Since the beginning of time, I don't know if y'all read the Bible, but I'm going to do a new YouTube where I actually preach this thing to you the way God give it to me. Because there's certain stuff that our people need to know. A lot of times they blame Eve for everything. Eve wasn't the cause of our foundation. Adam was. Adam caused the corruption. Honestly, Adam actually caused the corruption. Eve didn't. Eve only awakened us to the destruction. But Adam actually assisted, aided the Nephilim, everything. But nobody talks about that because they don't want that out, because they want you to feel like you're less than a woman. And their goals is to keep women and men who are called by God suppressed. Suppressed and oppressed to take over. That's where them putting you, astral planing you, putting you in a way where you can't actually move your body, but you're in a unconscious state where you can't move your body. And with the CBI system, they can actually puppeteer your body. So we call it the bowler hat. They can puppeteer your body. Your body can move without you even moving your body. And a lot of this connected to, we call it mental health. So we connect a lot of this stuff to mental health and stuff. And there's nothing mentally wrong with you because you're not doing this. Someone else is puppeteering you. Someone else is pipe piping. Someone else got this going on with you. And you're not able to call it or do anything about it right now. But there's an awakening taking place. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's some stuff that I want to reveal to you guys that I personally experienced. The reason why I ended up with this intel. The intel that came to me, I personally had to live it. I personally go through it. I don't give you what I think goes on. I give you what I know goes on. So they're fighting us in the school systems. Why? They're fighting for control in the school system. You get what I'm saying? The policy came where now if you are a high school student, you can become a substitute teacher if you graduated high school. Why you think that is? Because there's a war right there in the schools to actually get teachers that will educate. The only issue is your substitute teachers are going to go up under attack. They're going through rape. They're at schools. They're going through some of everything. They use rape as a weapon. So when you start feeling yourself being raped on your job, or you're going home, or you're heavily frustrated for no reason, you're like, man, I shouldn't be frustrated and stuff like that. A lot of times we don't even eat at work. Certain locations you're not even allowed to eat, honestly, at work. Because of the attacks that take place. And they're not going to talk to you guys about it, but I'm going to talk and I'm going to divulge it. Where if you're working in a medical setting, be careful what you eat at work. Because they'll drop stuff in your food to take you out of your mind. They'll drop stuff in your food, and this could be anywhere that you work at or whatever the case may be. It can even happen with you being home because you're not aware of your surroundings. You're not aware of your location as much as you want to. So use discernment, use discipline, use control, and try not to let other people control you because of the circumstances that we are faced with. Because that control situation, this is something they seek after, control. Keep your normal routine. They like to use your normal routines against you. Okay, what is your normal routine? I get up in the morning, I shower, I probably do my spiritual exercise, or whatever the case may be. They know your routines down pat. It is better to have a routine, write out a routine, and actually deal with your unconscious self before they try to puppeteer something that should not be. So the whole purpose of us holding to the 10 Commandments is so that they have no weapon to actually say this was an entrance through such and such, such and such, such and such, or whatever the case may be. You're dealing with people who are like raven wolves. They're undisciplined. They're uncontrolled and everything. They have discipline, but they have discipline only to do evil. So yes, they can be patient until they lure you into that hell that they want to make for you. They can be patient until they lure you into situations that you should not be in. They can be patient until they get you right where they want you at. And then all of a sudden you see their patience run thin with every little thing because they feel they're in control. how you remove the control mechanisms and use a default is you stay in conscience. What is that? Okay, I have to stay conscious. I have to stay relevant. I have to stay doing something. I have to stay motivated. What did I do? I re-educated myself. I fortified my foundation. I started IXL. I started my spiritual exercises. I never knew how important reading the Bible was every day. I feel like I shouldn't have to read the Bible every day. I shouldn't have to do all this different stuff. But what goes on is you actually have to stay relevant in the word of God, like constantly seeking God's face, seeking God's approval on certain stuff, because the enemy is trying to steal your faith. I didn't understand the lifestyle that I lived before I came to God was a faithless lifestyle, and it was taken from me. My faith was removed from me because I was not consistent with the word of God. I was not consistent with certain things, and my faith was removed to actually lure me into demonic possession, the man's possession, which they say is 9/10 of the law. But certain laws you will never ever actually see, neither are they written. But these are the things in which these people do. Some are written that you may have access to later on after your jail cell closed, where they're trying to sentence you as a slave. You may have access to it. But during the time when you're out of it and you're not aware, oh, that's the man's possession at its maximum peak. See, a lot of times we thinking that we getting away with certain stuff. You done slept with your boyfriend. You never quite understood why God say thou should not commit adultery, sexual immorality, or any of that stuff. Because we were taught it's okay to sleep with a dude because this is making him fall in love with you and he's this, he's that. No, that's the lure so that they can gain possession. See, some of this game is them trying to gain possession. And then when you begin to win the game, if you're a winner like me, oh, they want to throw them rules out the book. They don't exist no more. But back when you were sinning, those are the rules that they put into place until you become a winner of those rules. When you start winning the commandments, they don't want those rules no more, because I remember people throwing up in your face how sinful you is and how this and that, how y'all ain't gonna never do right. Y'all stay doing wrong. Now you live in it. You see them for what they really are. Don't come in my face on no stupid stuff. Don't come in my face telling me how I'm sinful, how I'm this, how I'm that, when I'm living it. And you can't. Main one that stayed in my face when I'm back in the days when I was out there in the world doing whatever. You can't come in my face any kind of way no more, because you might anger me to the point where I might put my hands on you, because I know the truth. That's how real it is. But until you get to that point, you don't know what you're up against. Mind you, they killed Jesus. They killed Jesus. Somebody that's trying to save him. What make you think they won't kill you? You can't get that which is righteous to the unrighteous. That's not something they seeking after. They don't want to seek after the ministry. They don't want to seek after the faith. They don't want to seek after the word of God right now. That's not something that they want. They want pure evil every day. And they'll do anything to get it. They'll do anything to inhabit it. They'll do anything to have it. So this is the games they play with people. And they want to be owners and masters, and they want to rule over the people. They want to rule over the people. And right now we're in demonic situations. I'm not going to lie to you. They don't care about a man's morals. It's part of the reason why half of these jokers walk around here stink around me right now. Seriously. Walk around here stink. The women ain't bathing because they don't want to be raped and all kinds of stuff like that. And only thing that I can honestly say, knowing what I know, You need to bathe because you're going to be sick. Could you imagine keeping feces on you for day after day after day and you a man to keep yourself from being raped? Them jokers don't care. They chase some booty anyway. They're going to still rape you. Woman, the same thing. All you doing, them jokers look at it, discharge ain't nothing to them. They feel like that's lubrication. Know what you dealing with. It's insane. Take care of yourself. Keep your hygiene up. Keep your health up. Brush your teeth. Wash your face. Make sure you stand on point. Try to bathe. If a joker find you nasty, well, you ain't bathed, you know that you did the best that you could possibly do. Because guess what? There are people that can't bathe themselves because they didn't bathe for so long, and these people took them out their mind that they don't even know how to bathe no more. Don't know how to wash clothes no more. They ain't cook for themselves. They don't know how to cook no more. They're in this warfare. There's so much going on with this system that they trying to put in place of oppression over the people. And I can't say it no more clear than this because I'm the type, I have to be so raw and so honest with the attacks that is costing me. Understand the risk that I take giving this information. I can be good if I stay quiet. I can be straight if I stay quiet. I go out here on the limb every day risking myself to bring information to you that's not false information, but factual information, which you can later on research and find the source where this problem came from, what it was actually used for, because it was used for many different things, to control inmates, to do a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm bringing it to you, and they know I know. So I go through hell. I'm limited because I bring the facts. So I'm limited on what I can have and I can't have. I'm limited on where I can go and where I can't go. I lose. Do you understand what I'm saying? I lose big because of what I know and what I'm willing to divulge to you guys. I never know. Like, they might lock me up in the next couple of years, give me a felony out of nowhere because of some BS. Or because I'm doing something. They don't care. They don't care. They already told me they want me in prison. They already told me they want me dead. They already told me all this stuff. So, hey, I'm going to make sure that you have what you need. I'm going to make sure you have this intel, though. I'm going to make sure you have some factual information to go with what I'm telling you so that you can actually understand what's really taking place and what's really happening. So, since the beginning of time, when we talk about Genesis, Genesis was not the first beginning. It's not the beginning. There was stuff going on way before Genesis. Basically, you ended up in Genesis with Adam and Eve because of the simple fact that you ended up dumbfounded. How you ended up dumbfounded, all the clues are not there. You were probably reigning, probably working a job, or whatever the case may be. This is that God of the past, the present, and the future. You were working, you probably doing what you're supposed to do or whatever. You ended up dead, killed off, or whatever. They trying to enslave you. All right, we there. They don't want you with knowledge. They want you to live and exist, but don't want you with knowledge. This is part of the welfare system. This is part of the food stamp system. This is part of a lot of these governmental systems that they are abusing. Government did not meant for you to live like that. I'm not going to even lie. But your community, when they sit up there and they're trying to enslave, they do that. So you on Section 8. You on welfare. You on food stamps. Have you noticed the worst dudes gravitate towards you? Have you noticed that you haven't been able to tell those dudes no? Have you noticed that basically these people try to take control of you? Dudes, have you noticed sometimes you hook up with these girls and you just go down, 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 down with them? Out of nowhere, you doing good for yourself. You hook up with this girl and she just takes you down to nothing. Have you noticed there are periods of growth that is unexplainable? And then you go through that period where you cannot grow to save your life? Know what you're dealing with. All I can do is divulge the truth. Understand, these growth periods that they give you, mine are very limited. They don't want me with nothing. So even when they say, oh, we trying to grow her. No, baby, you can't grow me because you too scared to grow me because you ain't on my level. My thought process is too complex for you to sit up there and say that you're on my level to actually grow me to an extent in which I'm deserving of. So I already know the reason why I'm stagnated and bound. Don't even play with me on the stupidity. But I have to explain it to other people who are not aware. Those growth seasons is them saying that they growing you. Remember the story of Egypt. You'll go through a famine. You'll go through seasons where nothing will grow even if you want it to grow. So when you sit up there and you seeing stuff grow, you have to buy 2 of everything. So if I'm sitting up there and I'm buying pads, I'm buying 2 pads, 1 to put down for the future and 1 for now. If I'm sitting up there and I'm buying toothpaste, 1 now, 1 for the future. And even while you're doing this, sometimes you might have to use your storehouse. But to build one, it's very much necessary because these attacks become very much real. When they don't want you to work 2 jobs, it's the reason why they don't want you to work 2 jobs, because they know that's the necessity that actually is taking place right now, where you have to make enough money on 1 job to either cover 2 jobs or you have to work 2 jobs. This is a necessity in this season because of this slave system they built in, with you in there. That situation where you astral planing and going through all that stuff right there, that's called the arc, the matrix system. When they're doing these matrix systems like that, that astral planing where that blackout comes in and they trying to take control of you or whatever the case may be very careful with yourself. Constantly educate yourself. Simple stuff. Simple stuff. Khan Academy is free. Get on Khan Academy. Educate yourself. Once you finish with that system, get IXL. Educate yourself. Just constantly find systems that you can use to educate yourself, to grow and advance yourself, because this is what you're up against. Don't want to stop human advancement and create a slave system where you must join them in a sinful, ungodly ways of destruction in order to have. So this is the marking of the beast that we will talk about in Revelation, where they have taken over everything. They have you went to church and they was up in the pulpit teaching you a pole ministry. Cause they done taught you. I got to talk. My brother Myron, tell it like it is. They want to teach you a pole ministry in a rich kingdom. So when they teach you pole ministries in a rich kingdom, you're geared towards that. Being poor. Guess what? You get checks. You get check in the mailbox. Most black people, Indian people, whatever culture you is, white, whatever, they send y'all stimulus checks ever so often in the mailbox. You never receive those. You don't even know they exist. You know why? Because they're stolen from you and cashed in advance to fund a terrorist operation and fund terrorism. That's the honest to God truth about what's really taking places. Like the government is funding terrorists who talking about they sovereign, but they robbing everybody. They robbing you to keep you poor. Okay, now I'm going to say this. A lot of people are going to be quick to join this demonic activity. Why are they going to be quick to join this demonic activity? Okay, part of the reason why they quick to join it because it seems like they winning. They want to go with the win, right? The opposite team seems like they're winning, but guess what you're doing? You're losing at the same time, because the moment you join them, the stuff that they put into those slave people, they're going to put into you. You are considered the same kind of slave, astral planed out, as everybody else. They have to maintain a certain amount of control, and you will never sit up there and get to the highest person, because it's not meant for you to know who is the highest ranking person. The highest ranking person might be right there in their face, and they don't even know that they're amongst a high ranker who makes calls on their life every day. That makes calls on their life every day. We hear these Hollywood stories. We're hearing all these stories about these children that was put up for adoption and all these kids that was procreated and stuff like that the government had to take care of, and how they using CPS as a weapon to actually destroy things in the area and take children into kidnapping. CPS is actually taking kids into kidnapping, and some of their officials and officers are actually using this. Now, that is the truth. Because when you sitting up here and you dealing with this illumination and you standing still and you can't move, that's what they like to use in these simulations. CPS, people governing authority, police officers, official positions, governing positions that they know have the right and the capacity to actually be put into place to maintain control. Where you will see the deviation is when you begin to show them, according to the law, this is this, that's that. You don't have to be a lawyer. See, that's another lie that they told you. I don't have to be a lawyer to defend myself. I should be able to go to the judge. When it started out back in the biblical days, you can go to the judge and express your complaints. That's still present right now today. You don't have to be a lawyer to do that. You don't need an advocate to do that. You should still be able to say, this, and this is wrong. And you know it's wrong. I don't need to be a lawyer to show you that there's a clerical error here, that there's a problem here that removes rights. And the judge should honor that. But how you're going to figure out that it's illumination and it's an enemy is because when you point out the errors, whether you're a lawyer or not a lawyer, they're not going to want to honor it. If you have a lawyer, your lawyer, I had a lawyer one time in a CPS case that got rid of official evidence. Got rid of official evidence, a letter that was written, got rid of it. Refused to actually enter it into as evidence. She disposed of the letter. Attorney Gordon, right here in Palm Beach County, disposed of a letter in an official case. That's how you're going to know when there's a discrepancy in the legal. Because you don't have to be an attorney to voice your opinion. You don't have to be an attorney to actually make a criminal complaint. Right now, they, right here in Palm Beach County, they refuse to allow you to file a criminal complaint. An officer arrests you falsely, you have every right to go down to the courthouse, file a criminal complaint, have your complaint heard before the judge in front of that officer. And if the complaint is valid, that officer goes to jail. You don't have to be an attorney to do all that. You don't need anyone advocating for you to do all that. All of that is within your rights in this judicial system, in this system to actually carry out. But what you will notice, they're trying to prevent that. This is one of the war zones that we're going into where we have to take over the judicial system because it's corrupted. Law enforcement, we got to take it back. It's corrupted. Hospitals, medical fields, we got to take it back. It's corrupted. Education, we got to take it back. It's corrupted. Universities, colleges, all this stuff, we have to take it back. It is corrupted. They're using it for alternative sources other than what it's supposed to be used for. And we have to take it back. Now, the thing about it, they like to pretend they want a peaceful war with no casualties. I'm going to be honest with you. The good, we lose more than anybody else. We have more casualties than anybody else, because when you walk into that thing, you may not walk into it with the sound mind that you need to walk into it with, because you're thinking everything's okay, everything's good, everything's peaceful, until it's not. And that's the truth about the situation. And with you astroplaning out with them, because while you astroplaning, they're doing switches, tears, weeds, some of everything going on. You may win a case and it's switched. The verdict says you won, switch. No, you didn't win. This is something that you're going to be faced with on a day-to-day basis. But I'm going to give you confirmation through the word of God. You left with what you do. You left with the work that you do. Be wise, my sisters and brothers. Be wise. Be wise. We are fighting an enemy that is not vigilant unless it wants to be vigilant, and it puppeteers people. The masquerade isn't even a masquerade anymore, like what one would think. The masquerade is demonic possession, bowler hat. That's what the masquerade is. So when you know that your mom would never do anything to harm you, and that your mom loves you, and you know that with all assurity, trust that and deal with whatever enemy is in front of you the way you need to deal with it. And have no regrets, because it's either you or them. And that's the honest truth. That's as real as I can possibly get it for you. When you see activity that you know that your people would never do, know what you're dealing with. Know exactly what you're dealing with. I like to be honest and transparent with people. This war is on the job. And I'm talking about you at Winn-Dixie, you at Publix, you at what Presidente, wherever you work at, Food Lion, wherever you work at. We ain't even got a Food Lion down here, but if we ever had one, Food Town, whatever, wherever you working at, or whatever store that you work at, work like you're working unto God, because we're in war. We're in war. And when they see you working the way you're supposed to work, you will be automatically picked on. Why? Because they don't want certain people with a job. Our people will be jobless at some point. Real people of God, this is part of the reason why we're telling you guys to fight with honesty. Fight, actually help the job sustain itself. Because I don't know if you're going on these jobs and actually paying attention. They've been sinking the jobs for quite some time. They've been sinking those jobs for quite some time. Those jobs are automatically set up for failure. And I don't know if their owners are even aware the failure that they set up within their institutions. But a lot of retail stores are set up for failure. Their methodology, the way they do things, everything is set up for failure. You're seeing raising costs, the rise of costs, because the merchandise isn't being sold, because the people, it's not affordable. So with it not being affordable, you got high theft, high shrinkage, a whole bunch of different things going on. And these people are automatically at a loss. And I'm pretty sure you're going to see that on pretty much every job that you go on. People cannot afford medical care, so the medical care is being given, but pretty much these medical care is being given for free. You got people that's actually taking advantage of the company. Okay, I'm gonna make these jokers come back. Car mechanics, they fix your car breaks down the next week. Why is it breaking down the next week? They did not fix your car where it could sustain itself. And that's something that they do to make sure, okay, I got to keep you coming back every 2 weeks. So you're like a paycheck to them every 2 weeks until you buy a new car. So they're not real mechanics. This is something that you see. On the job, you see staff doing a whole bunch of stuff that they shouldn't be doing, taking advantage of the company, stealing time. You supposed to be working, you want to sit up there, you want to chill on these people's clock, hang out, or whatever the case may be. If all your work done, yeah, of course you can hang out. But if it's not done, you need to be working until it's done. But this type of stuff is going on. And the ones that's not participating in it are high targets. And the company does not know it, because you got 3 or 4 people complain about one staff. You may want to investigate what's really taking place. That staff work ethics and stuff like that. That staff may not even feel like doing the job anymore. Honestly, with the amount of attacks that may take place, the staff may not feel comfortable even doing their job anymore. So now you got a staff fitting in with something that they don't believe in to keep the peace. To keep the peace. And ethically, it's an issue. Because now you're playing on ethics. Because in order to stay employed, you got to fit in with some stuff that you're not comfortable with. And develop habits and characteristics that you're not comfortable with. Know what you're dealing with. Actually, we got too much going on. A lot of y'all older people and stuff like that, you feel like it's done for you. It's not done for you. Get back in there. You ain't got your high school diploma, find a program. Get that high school diploma. We have to undo the times in our present. Like the Bible say, I am the Bible of the past, the present, and the future. Sometimes I'm not going to get able to go to my past. I'm going into my future, so I'm going to deal with whatever I got to deal with in my present. And I got to fight this battle right now, present. What is present to me and what I can deal with presently, I have to fight. I have to tell the people the truth, even if they're not listening right now. Because guess what? Later on, there'll be a servant, Shakita Brown, somewhere. And guess what? They'll probably edit this video and call me Shakita Davis or Shakita Pamelisa Wright, whatever. I don't know what they'll call me, but they'll probably edit the video and change the name or whatever the case may be to whoever's relevantly in charge or whatever. But however it goes, I will know that I have given my all and my best to educate the people on the modern day slave system and the oppression that is taking place to ensure that we do not actually conquer. When you sit in there comatose, the only thing that's going to get you out that comatose state is God and Jesus. And the day you do this, you will surely die. And the day you eat of knowledge, ye shall surely die. And the day you know what I know, you will surely die. But I was once told by a person that was teaching me tarot cards. A brother, he taught me this. And I was working at a prison. And he was an inmate. And he said, every time you see the death card, know that it means there's a beginning somewhere. There's life somewhere. You're just shedding the old one. There's life somewhere. Trust me, he taught me to see the death card as life, not as death. So yes, you died, but you resurrected with life. What was holding you was probably astral plane doubt. They was holding you up. And this is what they call it. Oh, they putting you up That's what they call it. They put you up. They got their capsules and their pods, and they put you up for a couple of years. Talking about other people need to catch up with you. Know what you're dealing with. But don't nobody got to catch up with you, because if you sit there and when they call themselves trying to astroplane you out or whatever, and you just doing what you're supposed to do, being what God called you to be, or a lot of people going to be 38 high. A lot of people going to play clergy in this mug after a while, because that's what I'm playing. I'm playing clergy. I'm just documenting. I'm not writing it down. You got a video where I'm saying it as clear as I can possibly say it. And ain't nobody going to care, because guess what? You going to think that I'm crazy. I realized the most craziest people was trying to give us clues to knowledge that we hadn't even grasped the concept to. It was so foreign to us that we said that they were insane, and it could not measure up to what they're actually saying. I just now got revelation on demonology that I never thought that I would get. And in demonic possession, I was taught, be careful, because they can be demonically possessed in our children of God. And they can be demonically possessed in our demons. And as I enter in, I have to use discernment to deal with these characteristics that I'm not sure what I'm dealing with. Whether I'm dealing with a possession of a godly person or a possession of a demon. Because remind you, these demons are trying to become masters. And they have to go through the same path. And I never knew this type of stuff. But I'm learning it as I go into my growth stage and emerge through all of this stuff. God is teaching, giving revelation, giving books, giving wisdom from other people that came way before me. And we have to actually start preparing our kids for warfare. Let me tell you something. If I had my choice, I got my two youngest kids. They're not with me. If I had my choice, I wouldn't even send them to school. If there's someone in the house that could actually monitor their education, I would prefer for them to be virtually educated at home. But we had the schools set up where they were safe houses for these kids. So what would usually happen, we would try to keep the kids at the schools from early in the morning to late at night. By the time you get home, all you got to do is bathe, go to sleep, and we'll see you the next day. It's about as close we can keep you to safety. This is actually the setup, the way the school was actually supposed to be set up and stuff like that. Honestly. And in some schools, we can get it cleared where if these kids need it, they could even spend the night at some schools, depending on the school, for their safety. You get what I'm saying? For us parents that are aware of the war battle and the fights that are actually going on in our communities. And we really do want to build the safe haven at home and stuff like that, but we're dealing with infiltrations because we don't own our own land. See, that's another thing. You got landlords, and the landlord trying to steal and take and manipulate and masquerade and a whole bunch of other stuff. And that's not every landlord, because some of those landlords are under other landlords. Yeah, you didn't know that, right? So what has happened is landlords are up under other landlords. This is like a master up under another master. And that master hasn't gained true mastery. So some of everything is going on in their buildings that they're supposed to actually govern over. It's like being an assistant manager at a store. And you have the regular manager, the store manager, and the assistant manager, right? The store manager can override everything that the assistant manager says. So it's a master over a master. And that's what a lot of people are dealing with. So a lot of times we're dealing with these things, or we're dealing with someone that's possessed. And I keep telling y'all, y'all are not realizing that possession isn't limited. I don't care how long this video is, because I'm just gonna do me. I was told by my communication teachers, make it 10 minutes max. 5 minutes. Don't nobody want to sit there and hear you talk all day. That's what my communication teachers see. I'm breaking every rule just like you. Hopefully he's laughing somewhere. But at the same time, because he's such a rebel, my communication teacher was such a rebel. But at the same time, I can honestly say this, because I don't have a whole bunch of time to even break down everything like I want to. And once I get going, I just want to throw it all out in one hunk. Because if I don't, I feel like I'm not going to do it, because I'm not going to sit here all day and night playing games with y'all. It is so much going on. So much going on. Wake up, my people. Wake up to these warfares. Wake up to what's really taking place. We are at war every day for our mental. So always constantly be educating yourself. Always constantly do a class, straight line, virtual. I would never send my kids out to school. Honestly. We going into war right here in our houses. I told you, landlord got a master over them. And the master trying to take over the whole community. Know what you're dealing with. You seeing jokers sell dope out there on the streets, monopolizing off the dope that they sell, taking over whole communities. That came with an agenda. Because guess what? If it didn't come with an agenda, he would have been knocked off once they seen him monopolizing on them. But guess what? He had to buy in. He buy in now. There's officers that won't even touch him or her or whoever it is that's selling that dope, monopolizing in your community. They're not going to touch him. He's part of the crew. He's part of the crew. He's not going to be touched. He can do whatever he wants to do. That's that R. Kelly. That's that Puff. That's that. Look, the only time they're going to get penalized when they ain't doing what the people say do. You want to go to church, you want to be saved, you want to call on the name of Jesus, then they penalize them. Because they ain't going to tell you that Puffy sitting up there trying to hook up with TD Jakes and trying to sit up there and change his life. He was calling Lecrae and all them, trying to sit up there and hang out with them. And number hell was going on, crying out for help. And sometimes this demonic possession, you ain't going to even be able to help yourself until the day of judgment. I couldn't tell you, I couldn't stop dating dudes until they say, hey, we doing a judgment on her. They did a judgment call on me, freed me from demonic possession. You know how I ended up in demonic possession? Thinking that the war was over. Dating guys. Oh, we can date, man. The war is over. We wanted this, man. No. Ain't no wins around here. Ain't no wins around here. We gonna have to keep doing. We gotta keep going toe for toe. We gotta go on pound for pound. We gotta keep going round for round. Man, this is a lifestyle change. All of us sitting up here. You want your wife? You want a wife? I'm gonna tell you how this astral plane out. They rape your wife and prostitute her out because she's thinking that she's with you. You come home, you piss, you 38 hot. You hot, you walk in on her with you. Cause she sure think that dude is you. You 38 hot, stay hot. I'm telling you it's going down. Stay hot. Stay hot, because you walked in with her, with you. And they ain't going to tell you all the game. Because guess what? When it's told, it's going to be told that she was with another man. But this is game. And if you dig deep, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Because this ain't caned out yet. This that hush hush, this that shadow. I'm sitting up there, I'm putting light in the shadows. What's in the dark got to come out. You're gonna see some actual bodies. Body of truth. I'm putting what's in the shadows. I'm bringing it out because it got to come to the forefront, man. Come on, come out the dark. Let me tell them how it is. You keep thinking your girlfriend a hoe. She is not a hoe. You know why she keep getting raped? Because she keeps sleeping with you and you're her husband. And guess what? A nigga want her who is around you, and both of y'all astro planed out. And they don't want to talk about it. And that's the truth. Some of y'all linking up in these groups. I'm going to tell you something, how the group work. Group has access to you, which gives them access to you in your old lady house. So your old lady sleeping in the house. You at the house too. Guess what going down? They coming through raping your old lady. You astroplaned out. This why jokers don't let a joker in their house, period. You can't come in my house. You can't come hang out around here. You gotta actually be family. You gotta actually mean well. You can't be up in here like that. Cause this is what's going down. And ain't nobody gonna talk about it. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing. So I'm gonna go hit on it, preach on it, teach on it, and actually tell y'all what's really going down. Okay, I've been telling y'all these young girls been getting raped for the longest. As soon as they get a little piece of body, everybody want her little body. She got a little body yaddy. Everybody wants it. So guess what she going through? She going through jokers on the street, throwing her out of her mind mentally. They even be trying to get into prostitution. They trying to constantly keep her in a daze. This is the reason why we keep our little girls in the house. Our little boys too. Our little boys, they like to play football. Y'all not aware of that. Our little boys like to play football. They sit up there. They see our little boys. Our little boys like their little chest out. Oh boy, I'm pumped, man. I got these guns on them. You know, I got this body yaddy on them. You know what I'm saying? These girls go crazy about this and stuff like that. And guess what? We got to protect our sons. Your son, you going to go to football practice, you going to bring your tail home. I'm not finna stress about you because I already know they want you. I'm worried about you. You is not the type of dude, because guess what? They done already taught our sons that you got to sleep with multiple women to be a man. And that's not the truth. That's not the truth. But they're not going to teach us to guard our sons. See, our sons, they taught us, say, oh, well, the boy can lay in the street and he'll be good. No, my son can't lay in the street butt naked and still be good. He can't lay out there like that. My daughter can't do it. My son can't do it. None that's with me can do it. Because I know it's an issue there. Nobody in their right mind does that. So why would you want to sit up there and convince me that this is the proper way to sit up there and our daughters? We was taught, oh, we got to protect our daughters. No. We got to protect both of them. Daughter and son. He a little girl or something. Nah, he ain't no little girl. He a man. You keep him in the house like he a little girl. Nah, he all man. The problem is you want him out in the street so somebody can sit up there and dog him out. He can stay in some stuff. He got to sit up here. He got to be fighting with these little boys and stuff like that, being abused and stuff like that. He's nobody punching bag. I don't want my son out doing that mess. He ain't nobody punching bag. And it's hard now because our young boys have taken on the personality of gladiators. Honestly, our sons have taken on the personality of gladiator. Try stopping these two boys from fighting. You will see them sit up there and go through hurt. Like, I ain't never seen boys that determined to fight and show their masculinity. And this is what's taking place. So now it comes to shilling. Now it comes to grooming. Now it comes to refining. But guess what? We can't refine our kids. Why? Because we too busy. We got to work. Think about it. 8 hours out of the day, sometimes 16 hours, we're working. That only leaves 8 more hours in what we're doing. We're trying to sleep. Actually, it only leaves 5 hours to sleep because we still got to sit up here and we got to bathe, we got to commute, we got to sit up here and fix lunch for the kids, make sure food's on the table or whatever. So who's at home mentoring the child while we're trying to be providers for the child? Because guess what? CPS is good as long as we're providers for the child. But when we become mentors for the child and we're at home, oh, CPS got an issue. There's an issue there because we're not supposed to mentor our children and enlighten them. And the schools, they're mentoring. Man, when I tell you, I done went into these schools, man, I ain't seen so many prostituting whores in my whole life. I'm dead serious. And I ain't talking about the students, I'm talking about the teachers. Most of the teachers are not refined to the point where you can tell the difference. And that's the honest truth. That is the honest truth. How you gonna mentor our children when you need a mentor yourself? We need to get somebody to mentor you. Dressing inappropriately. Teaching inappropriate things. But this is mentoring our kids. And nobody's talking about it. And that's real talk. Now, we ain't talking about the women that was and they serving God and they're doing the right things. We talking about the ones that still out there Saturday night popping it down at a strip club, getting it in. Of course, you don't see nothing wrong when we writing these young men up for being overly mannish. I'm gonna call it not mannish. How would you put it? I don't even know the word for it. These young men harassing sexually. Let's just call it harassing sexually. Of course, you don't see nothing wrong with it. And our daughters have to go to school and endure this, and you're a woman. What that say about you? You don't see nothing. You can't correct that because you don't see nothing wrong with that. But I see something wrong with it. Because that's not how we want our sons presented. You don't see nothing wrong with the football team running a train on one little girl who they done took out of their mind and raped her off. Because no young girl in her right mind that ain't astroplaned out would consent to a football team running through her and she's gorgeous as all outdoors with no flaws. But this stuff we don't talk about. No girl in her right mind who is all out beautiful is going to want to compromise her reputation. So there's some assistance with this rape mess through this astroplaning, and nobody's talking about it. But we got to preach on it. We got to teach on it. We got to prepare our kids because guess what? We're not going to tell you they got our kids vaping. They got our kids, oh, you can have money as long as you vaping. You have money as long as you getting the right back to them. You got them habits, y'all, Joe, give you some money. Try not having a habit and see if you ever end up with $100,000 salary and stuff like that. Because when you end up with that $100,000 salary, you better be preparing for your downfall. Because we already know what it is. A lot of our kids are dealing with the parent. They're working, they're providing, right? $100,000 salary, $200,000 salary, $500,000 salary, or whatever. So guess what? The door got open. Your mom, she makes good money, and this guy showed up. He seems like a nice guy. Women, stop falling for that nice guy mess. There ain't no more nice guys. Even the nice guys ain't nice guys. The good guys ain't good guys. Sleazos. And if they is a good guy, they get taken over. And now you got to deal with the demon that done masquerade him up. Because he hidden. How do you hide the righteous in sin? And that's demonic possession. So he hid in sin. They show you him long enough, and then they sit up there, masquerade him up, and then they infiltrate. So you got somebody else picking up your child and putting your children in bad situations. We sending them to the daycare. We don't know who at that daycare. You think if I was sitting up here and I don't have to work or nothing, I don't want my grandkids going to no daycare. I don't want them going to daycare. If I didn't have to work, they couldn't be at no daycare. You is not finna get your tail out there at nobody daycare. I gotta go to work though. But this is what I'm warning you about. Even in assimilation, I gotta go to work. I assimilate work. You know the game twisted. But I'm showing y'all this. Why would I want my child out there in that type of situation? Then now we got to monitor parent to parent, because guess what? We done hooked up with so-and-so and he seemed like a good man. But now we're hearing stories about the dad raping the daughter. The dad raping the daughter. The mom raping the daughters. The mom raping the son. The dad raping the son. We got these stories out here. They ain't just come from nowhere. This dealing with demonic possession. This is part of the reason why Apostle Paul said it's better to be alone. Don't have sex. Don't do this. Don't do that. Because, hey, man, it's getting real out here. You want to raise some kids, raise them alone, and don't have all that mess talking about, I got me a husband. No, I'm good by myself. I don't know what this joke on. I don't know what this joke gonna do. Because when them demons start calling, they will throw you out your mind if you ain't sitting up there talking about, look, I'm going to love the Lord thy God with all my heart, my mind, my body, my soul, man. I'll be foaming out the mouth, sitting up there trying not to commit sin. Seizure, they beating your body. That's what seizure actually is, because they ain't never felt this in this astral plane. But I'm finna speak on it. Seizuring is me feeling them shaking my body on just like moving for no reason. People think something be wrong with me. What's wrong with you? Nothing. I'm good. I'm feeling somebody shake me. Eyes closed. Eyes wide closed. Don't nobody tell these stories because they don't know. We sending them to daycares. If it's going on in the home, what you think the daycare like? You keep trying to leave your son with your boyfriend who you just hooked up with. He's talking about something on your daddy. That's not his daddy. In fact, he don't even like this joker daddy because them and they crew keep rivaling. They don't even like each other. Guess what? At some point, one gonna try to overthrow the other. Stop letting them kids be around like that. First of all, if you weren't committing sin, none of this would even be able to happen with our kids to begin with, because there wouldn't be no kids to start with. But guess what? They found a catch-22 to that one too. We don't have to have sex no more to have kids no more. Huh. I done had STDs. I ain't had sex at all. How that happen? I have to safeguard myself. I take my Delpo. I'm not even sexually active. I take Delpo. I come up with STDs and I'm like, hold up. Ain't no nigga been up in this. I haven't touched a dude. I haven't touched a dude. I ain't busted wide open in so many years. Shoot, it should be shut closed. It should be sold completely up. This real talk. But this is what we faced with. And they ain't want to preach on it, teach on it. That's why. Nah. I don't want my kids at no daycare. I want my kids in them schools. I want to homeschool my kids. I want to do everything a certain way. We have to build right now better daycares for our kids. We have to build right now. I never quite understood what the Muslim was saying with the faith, when back in the days they say we have to build certain things for our people and our culture. I'm at that point where I have to say it too. We have to build certain things for our people and our culture. I remember applying for a Christian school, to work at a Christian school. This was my goal. This was my dream, to actually work for people of God. Christian, Catholic, I don't care. People of God. I'm going to work for people of God. Why am I going to work for people of God? Because I know it's better when I work for people of God, right? That was my dream. I started applying and I asked the questions and I sit up there and I tell them my testimony and all this different stuff. Think I ever got hired to a school that was Christian with people of God? Know what you're dealing with. It's culture. They don't want to hire people that's connected with them, people that they know are doing what they do. But it's still infiltration going on, because every faith has been infiltrated. Every faith has been taken over, and you have to be careful, because there's so much going on in today's society that nobody want to talk about. Nobody want to preach on. Nobody want to teach on. They look at me and say I'm stupid. The moment I start telling them my testimonies, and these are my testimonies, these is real life experiences. I tried to go work for a university, Christian university. They told me no. I couldn't work there. I wasn't worried about it. They didn't want me. It is what it is. And remember, everything that happens to the woman, man of God, happens for a reason, and everything. And as I walk through the campus, I start seeing certain stuff. Little girls, just a Christian university, but her skirt, you can see her drawers. That's an automatic expel right there. You cannot come to this college dressed like that. That right there let me know, oh, there's a war going on right there. When I seen the young girl, she you could see her drawers pretty much. Skirt so short you could see her drawers, and no correction. That's how I knew it's more to that than that. It probably wasn't as Christian and as religious as I am, so maybe that's the reason why I wasn't allowed. And I can't get mad at that, because the devil's not going to allow the righteous on his playground. And it just is what it is. And I got to respect that. Thank you for acknowledging me as holiness. Because had I worked there, I would have to tell her, you are not allowed to wear that. You need to go put on some more clothes. What is your name? And have to do a report on that. But because I don't work there, I don't have the authority. Hey, pastors have been talking about authority, having authority to say something. But I'm a citizen, so I can say something anyway. But having the authority and the position to say it gives you more leverage, where you can implement it. And that's what the enemy don't want you to have. So know what you're going up against this season. I'm encouraging everyone. I told my son he's into cars. He's like, "Ma, I'm into cars and I want to do this and I want to be a mechanic and stuff like that and all this stuff." I say, "Son, you want to be an engineer?" He's like, I'm into cars or whatever." I say, "You want to build your own car?" Why am I throwing these out there? Why am I throwing these keys out there? I don't want you to think small anymore. I need you to think where you're going to build your own car, where you're not just going to go to school just to be a mechanic, but you have the wisdom to build your own car, not just fix it, build it. And most mechanics can build a car from nothing. So you're going to sit up there, you're going to start off as a mechanic and you're going to convert into an engineer. And that's what I told him. I said, "I want you to go to school for engineering because I know you're into mechanics and I found a school or whatever. If money ever gets good for us, which I pray and hope it does, this is something that I'm thinking about doing or whatever to better our lives or whatever." There's so many things that I wanted to teach my children over the years that I was limited. Why are you limited? Because the enemy is in your playroom. Know what you're dealing with. Enemy in your playroom. Enemy does not want you to have. Enemy does not want you to enlighten. Enemy does not want you to grow. I always want to take my children and teach them fighting. That's one of my goals. If money ever gets good, this is something that we're going to invest in. You just learning proper techniques in fighting, shooting, protecting yourself, actually going to learn how to work out the proper way, building up your diet or whatever. We're going to do certain things where we're at right now. But to be totally honest, to properly implement it, it takes money. It takes funding. It's not something you can do on your own. And they know this. This is part of the reason why they don't want your money to hit your hand. This is part of the reason why every time something come for you, they trying to grab at it and get what you got because they know your mindset. They ain't want to do it, but somebody got to. Anyway, hopefully these words encourage you guys. Hopefully I gave y'all insight. Remember, there is war zones going on in y'all communities. Be mindful. Young women, young men, you can't get raped in these situations. I never want to see a young man raped. I never want to see a young woman raped. I never want to see these things happen, but some of us are going to wake up in some astral plane situations and we're going to wake up out of astral planing to someone on top of us raping us. That's just a harsh reality. I'm sorry. Be smart. I've been there before. And they blank you out and astral plane you right back up though. So know what you're dealing with. These people are aware of what they're doing. You'll know the difference. By their fruit, you're going to know them. Anybody that stands for justice in the judicial system, it's not going to make the judicial system seem flawed. They will listen to your complaint, whether you're an attorney or not an attorney. When you see that, you already know you ain't with your people. You with them. And they on the BS. The big stuff. So smarten up. Sometimes you gonna have to take some losses or whatever. I remember it's a word of God that say constantly keep appealing. Constantly appeal your case. Constantly appeal your case. Become like the widow woman to constantly appeal your case and stuff like that. When you done appealed that case to the point where they say you don't even have judicial approval. It happened in the 15th Judicial Court. When I went to the 4th District Court of Appeal, they say districtly, these two courts, the court can't do anything about my case. Appellate court. I took this to the Florida Supreme Court, asked some questions about it. Oh, we can't rule on this case. Know what you're dealing with. How y'all can't rule on case tribute. It's a different tribunal or something like that. Got how they said it or whatever, but it happened in the judicial system. How is a tribunal different in a judicial system? And it's a bunch of BS. So know what y'all dealing with. Be smart. Be wise. Seek counsel and do what you have to do. It gets real around here. Hopefully everything that I told you, you're paying attention to. Young women cover up. Young men cover up. They want to turn a man into a gay man anyway. It don't matter if you the man in the gay relationship just handing out pipe or you the one receiving it. It's the same situation. Ain't no difference. Ain't no difference. You gay. Ain't no difference. Know what you're dealing with. Because you're inviting that spirit in. That spirit gonna make you want to sleep with little boys. That spirit gonna make you a child molester. All kinds of stuff. Be careful. Guess what? It's the same way if you're straight. So I ain't got no judgment for no gay people. You straight women out there, straight men out there, you can keep having sex as much as you want. You can even keep having sex in your marriage as much as you want. But no, at some point, those spirits are going to show up and try to take over. Be careful. God bless you guys. I wish y'all the best. Remember, we still in war. Y'all gonna still have to try to advance during these wars. Because they is taking over. They ain't nothing to play with. God bless.